Good evening. 911 miles from the last venue in Suzuka. Round number 5 of Division 1, Season 6 in the Formula PlayStation League lands us in Shanghai, China, as our 4 winners from the last 4 races, or the first 4 races I should say, vie to become the first repeat winner of Season 6 in what has been nothing short of a phenomenal start to the championship campaign. 6 rounds left, 20 drivers with us, the full complement for the start of qualifying here in the second consecutive Asian race. Welcome along to the Heineken Chinese Grand Prix. As always, my name is Rob Kershaw. I'll be taking you through this evening's racing. Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday evening. Don't forget to leave a like on the stream if you enjoy and subscribe to the channel. So, JT, last time out the winner in Japan. And will he be able to become a 2-time race victor in Season 6? Switched from the silver of Mercedes to the navy blue of Red Bull for this Grand Prix as a permanent driver, replacing Trixky, who has now become a reserve. And the first time this season we've had 20 drivers on grid, which is very exciting indeed, I have to say. So a huge thanks for... To everybody joining us this evening. Nuth and Cobalt are already quite busy in the chat singing Take On Me. I'm not going to sing because they wouldn't sound very good. Cheers though, fellas. Keep it up. Right, so Decinio, TDB, JT, 3 of the winners from these first 4 races. And quite a few drivers heading out onto the circuit already. Jack in the racing point, being the other one. And he also wins full-time seat as a result of that victory in Singapore in the rain-affected Grand Prix for round number 2 of the season. It was a fantastic race for Katsu as well in the Red Bull, who came from 18th on the grid. It has been a theme of drivers starting 18th and getting a good finishing position. First, second and first from 18th on the grid from the first 3 races of the season. As we join Reese on board, he's got his teammate Cobalt not too far in front of him. Reese was the first track to set a flying lap in Japan, you may remember, in short qualifying, and pretty quickly ended up with Williams in the barrier, so he'll be hoping to avoid a similar fate this evening. 18-minute qualifying session, followed by a 50% Grand Prix. Start on the tyres you qualify on, unless, of course, you qualify outside the top 10, which for the first time this season, there is a 50-50 chance of doing so. Right, Cobalt up towards the line to begin the first flying lap of qualifying for the Heineken Chinese Grand Prix. Down towards turn 1 he goes. Gets the car turning and flicks down the gears into 4th. Dips into 3rd, and now 2nd. And in towards turn 3, now bringing the car into the flat out turn 4, up the hill in towards the also flat out turn 5, brakes for turn 6, and there's the apex just on the inside as he brings the car onto the exit now in towards turn 7. Not quite flat, as you can see from the geometry of the car in the bottom right, or telemetry I should say, of the car. Double right-hander of turns 9 and 10, which brings him down towards the sharp braking of turn 11. Maybe slightly wider than he would have wanted, in towards the snail section of the circuit. Exit curb. In towards turn 13, and that brings him now down this very long back straight. With DRS available there. There it is. The noise you can hear is DRS becoming available as he opens the rear wing and plights down towards the chicane of turn 14. That's a pretty good run from the Williams driver. And then through, well, what is turn 15? It's been called a turn for no reason whatsoever. Up towards the line for Cobalt. The first time of the session is a 1:30.6. And behind him, his teammate Reese goes quicker, 1:30.4. And a good lap from both the Williams drivers within 0.2 of each other to start the session. And good going between those two. TDB into fourth. He was temporarily into third, but he's been displaced by 136.5 from TDB, so must have made a mistake somewhere as Brown in the Alpha Tauri goes 7/10 away from Reese. So that's really good going for Brown. And it could potentially mean a top 10 start for him. Lorna Lamb across the line, 132.2 on the medium compound of tyre. Whether he'll deem that enough to get a good top 10 qualifying position, who knows. There have been 4 pole from the first 4 races, as well as 4 winners. Tricky goes top in runner reserve driver at 130.1. Nuth has been one of those pole sitters. The current world champion, Imperious, last season for Red Bull, hasn't quite been able to emulate the success they had in the navy blue in the red Ferrari. Vapor Trench goes P1, 129.7. Nuth has managed to get himself on the podium, but not on the top step just yet. As the championship pick continues to look incredibly strange, has to be said, up top, but strange is how we like it. The top 3 drivers yet to win a race: Trench, Nuth and Desenio. TDB is the highest driver who has won a race so far in 4th. Jack Prentice behind him in 5th in the championship. 2 drivers tied on 28 points, TDB and Jack, as Nuth is not going to finish that lap, brings that Ferrari into the pits, and we'll have to go again. As Buttons back, we'll have down to 14 for him. Got a decent finish. Top 10 finish for the Haas driver, who has endured start to the season. Couple of little errors here and there and bits of bad luck, but I think he'll be fairly satisfied with his drive in Japan. And he goes P8, 136.2 on the softs, so doubtless he'll know he can do than that. We've seen that before from King. He's only had a teammate in 1 Grand Prix this season, has Vapor King. That was Misharin, and he out-qualified him in that race in Italy. He's got Carwin Rubb alongside him, making his FPSL debut. And there is the Haas driver as he rounds the final corner up towards the line and goes P9, 135.4, so that's ahead of his teammate Vapor King. And it's a pretty good start to life in the FPSL for the Haas driver, slotting ahead of a very respectable driver in King and getting into that top 10 for now. But of course, as you can see on the left hand side of the screen, there are a lot of drivers yet to set that up time. One of them is this man, Vapor Shea. Hasn't been able to join us in all of the races so far this season due to a race ban in Singapore after an incident with Kasu in Monza, which he duly accepted, but has come back and performed in well, the same fashion really that we would expect, as up to P2 he goes, just to prove my point, at 130.1 to slot in behind Vapor Trench. He's out-qualified a teammate once, and he's been out-qualified by James as well, which is not really anything to scoff at, because James is himself an extremely talented racing driver, as he's also going around as well on the circuit, and he will hopefully shortly be setting a lap time. There he is in towards turn 6. That's the Williams just slows down to let him go. Shea has treated himself to 1 podium in the 3 races he's contested so far, 2 points finishes. Oh, and he goes, and James goes very wide, and he'll not be setting a lap just yet. And if he does, it's not going to be the best one, as once again he'll have to come round and try again, as he just makes a bit of a mistake, and Elian has backed out of his lap, which means we haven't yet had a Ferrari setting a lap, and that is one of the most embarrassing mistakes you'll see all season. Sorry, Elian, I cut to you at the wrong point. He turned in too early in the pit entrance, and he's broken off his front wing. Yeah, I think we'll move on. Bazooka Joe in the Alfa Romeo. I noticed as well in the in the Discord chat this week, and it's something I haven't really picked up on, but it's absolutely spot on, is that Bazooka Joe always quietly gets the job done. I don't really shout about him that much. I don't really talk too much about him. I almost don't give him enough praise, really. But he always quietly has this knack of getting the job done. Last season, he was partnered with Reese at Ferrari and was out-qualified by Reese in all of the 8 races they spent together. But he outraced him 6 times. Part of that was granted due to a bit of bad luck for Reese, but most of it was just due to massive consistency from Bazooka Joe and just able to put in the right lap times at the right times and make the right decisions. He raced brilliantly throughout the whole season, and it's been a similar sort of pattern this season as well for Joe, because he's been out qualified by Sam twice. He's out qualified Sam vice versa twice, but he's out raced Sam 3 times this season. And the other one went to nobody because it was a DNF for both Alfa Romeos. As TDB goes second, 129.9. Here comes Bazooka Joe up towards the line in the Alfa Romeo to go P8 and slots just inside the top 10 with a 130.9. But it's TDB putting himself on the front row of the grid with 7.5 minutes left of the session. There is the Renault driver, Vapor Trench, the man out in front. And one of the drivers yet to win a race, as Desenio has had another lap invalidated, and he will once again have to try and set another one. Here's Nuth, the current world champion. Round turn 12 in towards 13, the famed snail section of the Chinese Grand Prix circuit, as he brings himself down towards the DRS line, and there it is as he flips open the rear wing and spots his braking point in towards the hairpin of turn 14. On the medium tyres is Nuth, locks up ever so slightly. That'll compromise his run on the exit of turn 14 as he goes through 15, which isn't a corner, it's nothing. But in towards 16, goes wide. Somehow doesn't have his lap invalidated and goes up to P10, 131.2. On the mediums, I rather think he might just opt to go for the softs towards the end of the session to try and get another lap time in. And he's really held up there. One of the McLarens, which was Lord Alam, who got really caught out there by Desenio, and I think had to just take to the grass to take avoiding action from the Mercedes as he now slows down to let go an Alfa Romeo. Then he's got the Alpha Tauri behind him. Oh, that's a bit of a mess, isn't it? Down the back straight. Yeah, not something anybody will look back on too fondly. That was Brown that was being held up there as well, and I think he was on a flyer. He's just come back into the pits because he was being held up by that traffic. That was a huge mess with Desenio and Lord Alam, and thankfully everybody coming out of it unscathed, but no one will be necessarily too happy about that. Right, JT, pole position in Japan, took the victory, the first winner from pole this season in the FPSL. It's quite a strange stat, but it's been a bit of a strange season in all the right ways. It's been a fantastic start with 4 different winners, and well, just excitement really from the start to now in round number 5 with 6 races to go, and he goes wide out of turn 13, invalidates the lap, and it will have to go again. Right, here comes James through turn 6, mounts the curb and in towards turn 7. This is where he went off last time, or around about here. It was through turn 7 and then towards turn 8 when he went very wide indeed, but manages to keep the car on the track, and he makes it in towards the double left of turns 9 and 10. Onto the exit curb now, down towards turn 11. Spots that braking point. It's a bit of an awkward corner to brake for. And in towards 12 and 13 off camber, so difficult to pick up the throttle at the right moment, but he's done well through turns 12 and 13. He's picked up the throttle brilliantly. He's surely picked up a bit of lap time as well in the process, has the Racing Point driver. Down towards turn 14 comes the Racing Point driver, winner of round number 2 in Singapore. And if he's to be the winner of round number 5 in China, he's going to need a good lap here. But he's not going to get one because he brings that car back into the pits again, and Well, it's getting in towards last chance territory for a lot of these drivers, and that is Kasu getting all mixed up with one of the Haas drivers and nearly spinning the car. I believe that's Vapor King that he's just got very close to, and they both now come into the pit, so quite a bit of drama actually happening down towards turn 14 down the back straight. I just wonder if there'll be a few words said to the stewards about that. What I was going to say before all of that nonsense earlier was Cobalt is now ahead of Reese. And it's once again been a nice healthy battle between those two. They've out-qualified each other twice apiece to start the season. Reese has edged it in terms of races. He's out-raced Cobalt twice. And Cobalt out-racing Reese just the once. And of course the other one, as I said earlier, with the Alfa Romeos is due to a double DNF for the Williams team. There's Nola Lamb, and that's an invalidated lap time for him. Sam is P14. As you can see, he's gone on to a set of softs and is going to try and improve on his lap time. His teammate Bazooka Joe up there in P9, just inside the top 10. Reese, I think, will know that that's a pretty achievable target to get up there, as Sam down towards turn 11 clips the apex of the left-hander and then in towards the double right of 12 and 13. A couple of different lines that can be taken through here. Both of them do involve patience on the throttle, really, and a bit of discretion in terms of the track limits, as we just saw with JT a few moments ago, who is back out there again, ready to set it up time with just over 2 minutes to go of qualifying here in China, as Sam exits turn 14 up the hill through 15 towards the final corner of turn 16, gets it turned in nicely. It's a really good run from Sam up towards the line, and the Alfa Romeo up to P6, 130.3, very good lap, displaces both into 10th place. Vapor King now pushed outside the top 10, as is Brown in the Haas. He was right outside the top 10, but he's just pushed a bit further away. And James is out of the session in the Racing Point, which means that he will not be qualifying. And if he is to become a race winner once again in Season 6, it's going to take some doing from here. Here comes Desenio in the Mercedes. In towards the final corner he comes, and up towards the line, and it's P11. 130.9. I think he'll be fairly disappointed with that. The winner of round number 1 in Italy. Here comes Elian, yet to set a lap so far in the Ferrari. What can he do? P18 at the moment, up to P10. Displaces Bazooka Joe. Vapor Nuth, his teammate, now down to P15. He's gone back out on a set of soft compound tyres this time. Vapor Trench on an outlap. Reese has gone up brilliantly to P2 in the Williams. Vapor Trench there in P1. There is Reese. He's just set a lap time to put himself on the front row of the grid. 6 wins from second in the 16 races here in Japan. And Reese from there may just fancy his chances, although he'll need a bit of luck for once in the FPSL. There's Cobalt in P4 now for Williams. So both the Williams drivers improving massively. One of them on the front row, one of them on the second row. Cobalt will be hoping to improve and get himself further up towards pole position. We're still waiting for Trench and for TDB to set lap times. JT's back out there again in the Red Bull. And there he is, in towards the double left of 9 and 10. Sam's retired from the session, up to P8 for him, so he's satisfied with that. The Mercedes, the buttons back, is in P9. And look at that, in the Haas. His first race in Season 6, and Carwin Robb has just gone P2 in the Haas. And Vapor Shea up to 3rd as well. What a dramatic end this could be. Vapor Trench has finished his qualifying, and he'll, at the moment, be starting on pole position. But can this man, JT, do anything to stop him? Elian has just crossed the line, seen the checkered flag. P11 for him. It will not be a top 10 start. Ahead of the Chinese Grand Prix. JT yet to set a lap, as is his teammate Kasu, around the final corner. Last chance now for JT, up towards the line for the Red Bull, and it's P9, just inside the top 10 for the start of the race. And Kasu on the softs goes into 8th position to take that position away from JT, sends him back down to P10. as Jack Prentice we wait for now to cross the line in the Alpha Tauri. And out front, look at that, Vapor King in the Haas takes pole. What a brilliant lap that was from King. Now what about Jack Prentice? No, stage P19. But what a lap right at the end of the session. King steals pole position from right underneath Vapor Trench's nose. Pushes Cohen Robb back off the front row. What a fantastic qualifying for Haas. 1 in P1, 1 in P3 as TDB crosses the line and he takes pole in the Renault. Incredible stuff at the end of qualifying. TDB has now stolen top spot and Vapor Shay's in the pits. He'll not be improving. He won't be able to set another lap. TDB out of nowhere at the end. Well, Vapor King stole Trench's dream of pole and TDB right at the very end, at the death of the session, takes pole position for the Chinese Grand Prix. What an end. It's TDB on pole for Renault. 9 winners from pole position here in China since 2004, taking pole by just under 2/10 for Vapor King. Trench behind him in third, Rob in 4th place for Haas. Vapor Shay qualifying 5th, Reese in 6th, Tritsky 7th, Cobalt in 8th place to start the Chinese Grand Prix, out-qualified by his teammate Reese for the 3rd time this season. Casu in 9th, Sam rounds out the top 10, JT 11th in the end, Buttons back 12th, Lorna Lamb P13, Bazooka Joe in 14th, Brown 15th, Elian 16th, Decenio, Vapor Nuth, Jack Prentice and James rounding off the grid. Super disappointing qualifying for Mercedes and for Ferrari, and the world champion Nuth qualifying way outside the top 10, way down the order. And that is certainly a bit of a twisted grid ahead of the Grand Prix. And I can't wait to see what we have in front of us for the 50% race here in Shanghai, because we've got quite a few of the top runners in Season 6 and certainly throughout Season 5 last time as well, starting towards the back. So they will absolutely be chomping at the bit to get themselves back at the grid. Remember as well, free tyre choice for some of those drivers, well, all of those drivers outside the top 10. But TDB, what a lap right at the end. And he's just told me that pole is a curse for him and that he's not going to win this race. Well, I don't know. You never know. There has only been 1 win from pole so far this season. But certainly there, what a lap at the end of the session. And can TDB convert pole into victory here in China? Let me know in the comments. Let me know who you think is going to win. It might be an outrageous prediction, but we've had some outrageous things happen already in Season 6, so never discount anything at all as we get ready to go here in China. What a spectacular qualifying. And, well, in the end, what a debut it's looking like for Cohen Robb as well in the Haas, who got up to 2nd place, is pushed now down to 4th, but he's got his teammate Vapor King right in front of him on the track. Zoe says Decenio for the win. He's 17th on the grid. He won from 18th on the grid in Italy. So you never do know. Safety cars as well could play a part. They almost certainly always do in league racing on the F1 games. And we shall see this time as well whether that will ring true. As the Renault TDB gets us underway, Trixky, his stand-in teammate Fashion, unfortunately not with us for this evening's racing, so he's P7. A solid job from him to get himself up into that top 10. Formerly the Red Bull driver, but was put into the Division 1 reserves list and has stepped in and, well, hasn't put the car on pole, but has put the car in the top 10. And Renault in with a chance of some good points, and there's a spinning Red Bull, which I believe is JT in the background. No, it's not. It is the other Red Bull of Casu, who has just spun round. And there he is, just rejoining at the back on the soft tyres. I remember Max Verstappen actually last year did that in the Red Bull. He spun on the formation lap. Casu has done that here. He won't lose grid position. Normally, actually, if you were to spin on the formation lap and drop down to the back of the order, you would actually have to start from there. But the game is a little bit more forgiving than that, thankfully. 9 different winners here in Shanghai. That fits pretty well in the 16 races, because 4 different winners from the opening 4 races here in Season 6. Mercedes have got the most wins with 6, but they've got 1 driver starting in 12th and 1 driver starting in 17th. So that will certainly have to be one hell of a performance from Mercedes today if they are to take the maximum points finish from Shanghai going into round number 6. The 336 metre dash from pole to turn 1 is about to get underway. Who's going to make it there first? We are about to find out. Pole on the left. 59% of this lap at full throttle, so a massive need for concentration throughout the whole lap, throughout the whole Grand Prix. And at the end of it, who's going to be standing tall as the winner? We will find out after a manic start to the season. The Heineken Chinese Grand Prix is underway. It's a very good start from second from Vapor King, and he's almost going to get alongside TDB in towards turn 1. Can TDB cover him off? No, he can't. Look at Vapor Trench behind in the McLaren as well, trying to get in there. TDB still side by side with King, but King has P1 covered off in towards turn 2, but TDB's back down the inside looking to retake the lead. There's almost contact. TDB manages to keep the car pointing in the right direction and takes the lead. King up the hill in towards turn 6. There's Vapor Trench having a look at TDB as well. What a start from Shea up to P4. Carwin Robs losing positions. Reese has got himself a fantastic start up to P6 behind him, with Cobalt right behind 6th and 7th for Williams. Buttons back, a fantastic 8th off the start as well, getting himself up into the top 10. Trixky's been pushed down to P10 for him, so he's one of the losers off the start. But Vapor Shea and King, fantastic starts from both of them. The Haas of King leads the Grand Prix, and Vapor Shea in the Racing Point up to 4th. Trench still having a look at TDB, but it's that man there, Vapor King, leading a race for the first time, I believe, since Brazil last season, when he threw the win away on the safety car restart. Oh, and very wide is the Renault, and that is TDB. TDB going off the track, I believe. No, it's not. It is Trixky. Trixky going off in the Renault. My apologies. So all the way down to P17 now for the Renault driver behind him. Bazooka Joe having a look at Lord Alam. Oh, it's not a great start for Renault then, as very wide indeed goes TDB as he gets passed by Vapor Trench down towards turn 1. And the timing screens have gone all over the place again. I believe Vapor Shea that was coming to the pits in the Racing Point. No, he hasn't, but he is side by side with Carwin Robin towards turn 3. Those two getting very close on the exit of 3 as in towards 4 up the hill. And there they are, and there is Rob, and he isn't quite able to have a look just yet at the Racing Point of Vapor Shea as the timing screens once again go AWOL on me, and I've no idea what's happening, but I do know it's attacking Vapor Shea for all he's worth in towards turn 8 and in towards these double lefts of 9 and 10 as TDB in front goes slightly wide in the Renault. That will just allow these drivers behind to catch up a little, and there is TDB in P3 for him at the start of this Chinese Grand Prix. Vapor King leading the Grand Prix. Trench in second. TDB third. Vapor Shea fourth. Cohen Robin P5. Then Reese, Cobalt, Buttons back, Sam and Elian in the top 10. DeCinio's got an excellent start in the Mercedes up to P11, nearly in the points. He's right behind his fellow promoted Division 2 driver from last season, Elian. And down towards turn 14 they go. And meanwhile, Sam and Elian getting pretty close as Vapor Trench and Vapor Shea out front. So there's King with a 134.3 fastest lap of the Grand Prix. Trench behind him. Then Vapor Shea followed by Carwin Rob. As TDB has come into the pits. Right, so that's the reason for that. TDB now pitting for Renault. And he's in P17. There he is. So out of the pits on the medium compact tyres. So from first to third in the opening couple of laps. And he's decided already that he's had enough of that set of tyres. He's going to go for a different strategy. Has he just thrown away the win, though? Well, let me know in the comments. He might have done. Meanwhile, there is Vapor Shea in the Racing Point. Behind Vapor Trench. So both of those two now in the podium positions as the game glitches out, and the McLaren and the Racing are both sort of disappearing. Oh, that's not good, is it? It's not a good look. Codemasters, come on. And then Carwin Robb behind the Racing Point. Kasu is out of the session of the Red Bull, so his first race back since a couple of races out, and unfortunately for him, he has already found himself out of the Chinese Grand Prix in the early stages. There is Reese in P5. He's got his teammate Kobalt not far behind him in the other Williams. Reese managing to stay ahead of Kobalt off the start. Behind them is Desinio now up to P10, although there is JT in the Red Bull. Those two now side by side in the run up towards the final corner, and Desinio just about stays ahead, but for how much longer can he continue to do so? Because JT really pushing him for the points position as Reese comes into the pits for Williams. So in comes so really early pit stops happening here in the Chinese Grand Prix. Trixky in the Renault into the pits as well. He had a poor start, lost some positions, and then ended up running wide down the back straight onto the grass. So that is him into the pits on a set of yellow-walled medium tyres, which won't take him to the end, but they will hopefully for him take him far enough to make whatever strategy he's trying to go for work. Of course, he'll probably just try and go on to another set of mediums towards the end of the Grand Prix. Can the one stop? Probably not. Tyre wear is probably just a little too attritional here for that to really work out. Carbon Rock continues to chase down Vapor Shea. But it's King from second, winning this Grand Prix. There's been 5 wins from outside the front row here in China on this clockwise circuit, and Trixky is being shown as having left the session. And where is the Renault? So he's P18. He'll be ghosting quite a bit as Vapor Trench has a look at Carwin Robb, although that's a very glitchy McLaren behind him. Codemasters once again playing an absolute blinder, but I can tell you that Trench is in the pits for McLaren. Oh dear. That's just not a good look, is it, for Cody's? So Shea into the pits as well. Quite a few drivers pitting as Jack Prentice manages to get himself back up the order as a result into P8. Kobalt in the Williams into the pits. And there he is on the soft tyres currently. And he goes on to a set now of the medium compound of tyre. And away he goes. Out of the pits just in front of him goes the Alfa Romeo of Sam. Sam, who qualified reasonably well in the top 10, and well, was in the top 10 actually before the outbreak of pole position lap times being set. Kobalt right behind him on the run towards turn 6. Kobalt didn't really need this actually, ending up behind the Alfa Romeo. This is going to cost him now to his teammate Reese, who is in P12 following his stop. And Reese onto the mediums as Vapor King still out front leading the Grand Prix. And you just wonder if maybe King's left it too late, because it's got the undercut on the drivers in front. There's Desinio in P2. King carries on, and Desinio behind him, he's got his teammate Buttons back, and he's being passed by JT, but not quite going to happen. But he cuts back underneath the Mercedes. Really good run through the final corner for JT, and he gets ahead of the Mercedes. Behind them, the two Ferraris of Vapor Nuth and Elian tussling for position, and in towards turn 1. JT has third place in the Chinese Grand Prix, right behind Desinio now. It's been a really good recovery from all 3 of these drivers actually. Desinio, JT, and Buttons back. Of course, they are yet to make a pit stop, but this has been tremendous pace, isn't it? Because Desinio's just 5 seconds off the lead held by Vapor King. So already some fairly different strategies being rolled out by the drivers. Vapor King opting to go quite a bit longer, whereas a few drivers opting for a much earlier pit stop. Vapor Trench's car is still glitching out all over the place, as Carwin Robb brings his Haas in towards turn 6. P12 currently having just got onto that fresh set of medium tyres. And then Reese not far behind him. So Reese has gained a fair bit of time actually from all of this, because he's much closer to the car when Rob than he was just before these pit stops happened, which could mean that Vapor Shea will lose out in the long run as well. He's P14 having just pitted, so he's already lost out to these guys. So I think Reese here is potentially in with a shout of getting himself a podium finish, possibly. However, look at the racing point. Vapor Shea right behind the Williams driver. And meanwhile, out front, Elian getting past Buttons back, and still right behind his teammate Nuth. As into the pits comes the Mercedes of Buttons back. And there he is, running slightly wide on the entrance. And into the pits he comes. 8 wins by Mercedes Power here in China at the moment. This race is being won by Ferrari Power, as has happened 4 times in the Chinese Grand Prix. Buttons back, having to, I think, get a change of front wing, I believe, which was why it took so long. And away he goes, and that's going to put him, I think it might put him down to the back, because Trixky is there, and he's got Lord of Lamb. Actually, Lord of Lamb is a lot further back, isn't he? Yeah, he is. There he is, just coming into the final corner. So he's had some dramas as well in the early going here in China. So Buttons back down to P18. So having made a good start, he's run into the wall somewhere, because he's had to change his front wing. JT into second place then. He's just passed Decenio for second position, onto the podium places for now. As I say, though, yet to make a pit stop. These drivers are Bazooka Joe is ahead of TDB in P8, and closing in on Jack Prentice for 7th place. Bazooka Joe with 3 points finishes from 4 races early doors, with a non-points finish as well to his name. And down towards turn 14 isn't quite close enough for the move just yet on the AlphaTauri. The other AlphaTauri of Brown is just in front of them, and into the pits has come Vapor King. So the race leader has pitted, and what is this going to be? Because this is quite, not quite a few, it's a couple of laps later than the drivers behind in terms of his competitors for the race. Trent, Shea, Reese, Colin, Rob, a lot of drivers, and onto the hard. So that is surely to take him to the end of the Grand Prix. So, well, I mentioned there that there were differing strategies at play. I did also mention that I didn't think the one stop was possible, but maybe it is. Once again, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is a one stop possible? Also, I can only apologise for what's happening on your screen. Blame Codemasters. Send any complaints to Codemasters HQ. They'll be happy to answer them. Nuth in P3, just in front of his teammate. So, of course, both of the Ferraris yet to pit. Nuth starting on the hards, Elian starting on the medium tyres. So Ferrari on different strategies, which isn't too uncommon these days, has to be said. Bit of a lock-up from Nuth into turn 11. But Elian still not really close enough. He's being showed as a 10th behind Nuth, which isn't true, because look at that. He's just not, is he? Is now within DRS range of Jack Prentice, and there he opens up the flap on the rear wing. Is he close enough in towards turn 14? Doesn't look like it. No, he's not. Had a little look. He was using overtake as well, but wasn't quite able to close up enough to the AlphaTauri for a move just yet. Nuth's got a penalty for exceeding track limits. Decenio comes into the pits for Mercedes. So is that hard tyres onto hard tyres? It is, isn't it? Right, so he's either messed up or the team has messed up. I'm not too sure what's happened there, but Decenio is going to have to pit again then, isn't it? From hard tyres. It reminds me of Sebastian Vettel's strategy in Spain, I believe. It doesn't really make any sense, that. Buttons back is, well, he's still down in P17, but he's just at the fastest on his soft tyres. Of course, he will have to pit again. He's on lap 9 and on another fresh set of softs. There is Bazooka Joe, still behind Jack Prentice, but only just. TDB catching up to these two ever more as we go deeper into this Grand Prix. JT still going out front. Nuth is 6 seconds behind him in the Ferrari. He's actually done well to keep the gap where it is, Nuth, and actually he's doing more than that. He's ever so slightly encroaching on that advantage that JT has on the harder compound of tyre. Can Nuth become a first-time winner in Season 6? It's almost unfathomable without a win this season. Oh, there's Vapor Trench's guy. He's having a raven. Joe, well, he's not got past turn 6 we go. Excuse me, up towards the final corner we go. I was talking about P6. Up towards final corner in the battle for P6, if I can get my words out. TDB up towards turn 1, but because Bazooka Joe's got DRS in front of him, he's just not really close enough to go for anything, although there he is down the inside. Bit of contact between them, gets very close to Jack Prentice as well. Jack does well to see him in his mirrors and just about gives the Renault enough space. Really good move there from TDB. Clean as well, and fair play to Bazooka Joe. Gave the pole sitter enough space. Now he has a look at Jack Prentice. Dives down the inside into turn 6. And clean as you like. 2 moves in just a few corners. And Elian is side by side with Brown through turn 7. That would have been a fantastic move from the Ferrari. Wasn't quite able to pull it off. And Brown is ahead of him as they traverse turns 9 and 10. TDB with his pace now is going to be catching up to these two. Elian's going to be more than aware of that as he has a little look into turn 11, but it's not really an overtaking spot. The exit is deceptively tight out of there, so not usually a place that you want to go for a diving move down the inside. Here comes Elliot. Is this going to be enough here to get himself ahead of Brown as he closes up, gets ever closer with DRS, has a look at the inside, and thinks better of it. He really did give it a good thought there, but took the very, very last opportunity to back out of that one. And fair play to Vapor Trench. He's being shown in 7th and 8th. Yeah, it's nice. It's actually Bazooka Joe behind him. Yeah, let's go to Cohen, Rob, shall we? He's got Reese just behind him. Reese looking to score points for the 4th time this season. So it's been a consistent run from him. Sime Cobalt's only scored points in 1 race, and he's currently down in P15, so he'll need to make a couple of pace improvements, shall we say, to get back up into the points. And I rather think the strategy actually may have screwed him over. I think he got a bit of a slow stop. And there is Trench being pursued by Bazooka Joe. And once again, the game glitching out. And as we try and sort this out, I'll be back with you in just a second.